Hey guys, welcome back to the Era of Ecom show. My name is Shala Jalali and I am your host. I'm actually really excited about today's particular topic because it's one of the most underutilized channels that e-commerce businesses have. And so for this particular podcast, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and that is for me to fly solo today without a guest. However, I have interviewed some people who work at YouTube before, which is our topic for today. And I really wanted to share with you what I think are some of the biggest highlights as to how it is that e-commerce businesses can take advantage of this underutilized platform. So we're going to get started in just a moment with some really important YouTube tips for e-commerce businesses. We've all been on there for a variety of different reasons, whether it's business, a simple how-to for our personal lives. So it's no wonder that YouTube is the second most visited website, right behind, you guessed it, Google. So as one of the fastest growing social media platforms, specifically for millennials and Generation Z, e-commerce haven't really tapped into understanding how they can best utilize YouTube for their sense of revenue and in terms of their advertisement. Now, there's a couple of reasons why e-commerce are a little bit hesitant in utilizing YouTube as their one source or one of the sources of their advertisement online. So why is YouTube so under the radar for e-commerce? Well, in 2020, the awareness level as to how much you can actually pertain your ROI, your ROAS from YouTube is actually growing. But there's still a lot of misconceptions which we aim to clear up here and kind of give you a walkthrough as to what it is that you can do to highly benefit from YouTube, how it is that you can create your creatives, what are true views, and what type of analytics it is that you can use to be able to gain the most from this platform. A lot of marketers say that Facebook is easier, and in a lot of senses, it's true. Facebook advertising is a lot easier. It's easier to be able to simply change an image, to be able to change the ad copy, to be able to change, anywhere from the landing page or the headlines. Whereas to YouTube, there's a lot more effort that's needed to be able to go in to change the video. So of course, Facebook is a lot easier, but YouTube, don't discount that just yet because all that hard work, which is not as hard as you may think it is going to pay off as well. A lot of people are very comfortable with Facebook in particular. And the misconception is that YouTube creatives are difficult. Now, there is a formula for YouTube creatives, and obviously you can't change the creatives as easily as you can change a Facebook ad or a Google AdWords. However, there are certain aspects that you can go in incorporating into your creatives to give your ad a better sense of a winning chance. And that's what we're going to go through today as well. So the first myth that I want to take off the table for YouTube videos is that the creatives are hard or it's going to be really expensive to create the right creatives for your advertisement. And I'm going to go through that in a second as well, because it really doesn't have to be difficult. So out of all the e-commerce businesses that are out there, what percentage in your head do you think actually use YouTube as a platform for their advertisement? Sadly, only about 10% of e-commerce businesses are utilizing YouTube right now, whereas the numbers for Facebook and Google AdWords are a lot higher, somewhere around 90 to 95% of e-commerce businesses, and for good reason too, are using Facebook and Google Ads display at the very least. This actually should not discourage you, right? The 10% of e-commerce that are using it, that number is not necessarily so low because YouTube does not give the return that e-commerce businesses are looking for, but it's because it's really seen as this high barrier to entry in terms of creatives and difficulty. But for those e-commerce who are looking to jump onto this bandwagon here, that actually gives you a leg up, which means that your competitors most likely are not advertising on YouTube, which gives you the lead way to be able to do so. The largest barrier to advertising on YouTube is making the video itself. This seems like a really high barrier. But you actually don't need a large budget. Some people think that you need to have really creative, really well-made videos with a high quality. And although some of these aspects are true, the cost to be able to create such videos are not nearly as high as you think that they would be. Although they don't need to be super level ads, such as the ads that you'll find in a Super Bowl, they do need to have some sort of strategy behind it, right? I mean, everything goes into the work of this particular video. It needs to have a hook in the beginning. It needs to have social proof, a CTA. You're really jam-packing every aspect of everything that you've done in terms of a funnel to really place that into a video. But that can also mean a shorter sales cycle, which helps clients get to your checkout page a lot sooner, have that belief, have that trust with the social proof, and really remove a lot of doubt as well. So as much as you think that those items serve as a barrier, they actually serve as a really important piece to be able to accelerate your funnel as well. The first aspect of having the right creatives, and if this is one of the only takeaways that you get from this podcast, the first 5 seconds, you need to have a hook. You need to have that person interested in there, that it stands out, catch them off guard, whether it's humor, something unexpected. You need to have a hook to be able to reel them in. But here's another strategy that e-commerce businesses use. Usually it takes up to 5 seconds for someone to be able to skip the video and go on to whatever video they initially brought them to. One of the aspects is true for any video, right? For any type of platform, but more so for YouTube as well. The first 5 seconds are going to be extremely important as to how it is you display your information. Now, there's 2 things to think about when it comes to the first 5 seconds of your video. The first is that you have to have a hook. That hook can be humor, it could be unexpected, a surprise, cliffhanger, it could be anything. But it needs to have a hook to be able to capture everyone's attention. The second thing that you need to know about is that you really only have 5 seconds to be able to determine whether the audience is going to stay or they're going to skip your advertisement to go into and watch the video that they originally came here for. Now, one of the great things about people skipping your video after the 5 seconds is the fact that you don't get billed for it. So what you're doing is you're actually weaning out a lot of the audience that may not be a fit for your particular product, and you're not really getting any type of expense for that. So what some advertisers do in the first 5 seconds, they kind of, speak to the audience that they want to sell to. For instance, they would say, this is a product for males or females, this particular age. If you're not interested, go ahead, get to your video, skip this right now. This is not for you. It's going to be a waste of time. Not in such words, but they really kind of get to the point. And for all those people who that particular product is not right for them, doesn't fit for them, they will skip it. And it comes to at no cost for the e-commerce business. With the first 5 seconds being so important, what some e-commerce businesses do, and this is something that I suggest as well, is when you're creating the structure of your video, play around with what the first 5 seconds are going to be, right? So that means the rest of the video is going to stay the same, but the first 5 seconds are going to be different. And this is your version of A/B testing. One is getting straight to the point. The other is having something funny happen in the first 5 seconds, and so on and so forth, depending on what your strategy and what your particular product is. So one of the best ways to be able to A/B test is to change the first 5 seconds and have different versions of that. Having that prepared well before you start shooting or you're creating the video helps you have this long-term plan instead of going back, re-strategizing what you're going to do. This gives you a shot in the park to speed up that process as to which advertisement, which 5 seconds is going to work. Now, beyond the 5 seconds, this is what we get into something called YouTube's True View. You actually only get charged. You're not paying for anything if your slot is less than 30 seconds. Like if people don't watch up to 30 seconds, the True View is counted 30 seconds and beyond. And this kind of helps weed out the process of after the 5 seconds and below the 30 seconds, what YouTube counts as a true view. And this is a real differentiator with regards to other type of advertising platforms and the impressions such as Facebook or Google Ads. YouTube's true view is really a separator in terms of becoming an asset for you, as well as your cost per impression or cost per action. All right, let's talk about what the biggest barrier is for e-commerce businesses when it comes to advertising on YouTube. And undoubtedly, that's going to be the creatives. For some reason, the aspect of creatives has really shunned YouTube and everything that the platform offers for e-commerce businesses away from them. So let's kind of break it down into two different strategies. The first is, who are you marketing to, whether it's a cold audience or a remarketing audience. Here's a tip for all e-commerce businesses, especially if you're new to advertising on YouTube. The best strategy that you can do is advertise your remarketing campaign. And this is a great golden indicator, because if you can't close, if your creatives cannot close a warm audience through your remarketing ads, chances are you're going to have even a tougher time closing a cold audience from a cold ad. So you want to start with remarketing ads first. Even your remarketing ads have a particular flow of how the information is going to go, and we're going to break that down right now. So when creating your YouTube video, you want to aim for the timing of your video to be anywhere from about 90 seconds to 4 minutes. This is really where the sweet spot is. So you really want to break down the story that you're telling in your ads within this time frame as well. You can do this in a few different ways, but we're going to take one for an example. You really want to showcase, even in the first 5 seconds, again, whether you use it through humor or whether you use being able to showcase that hook through a surprise element, you want to kind of differentiate why your product is different or better, right? That's one of the first things you want to get off the bat, is why is your product different or why is your product better? Another strategy that you can use when you're building your storyboard for your creatives is kind of adding why the industry is broken, right? And this is an example straight from the Purple Mattress, and that's one of the things that they do. You're going to listen to these different examples, this side-by-side type of narrating and storytelling. And when you watch a Purple Mattress YouTube ad, you'll see exactly how they do it. So they start off with, why is the product different or why is it better? So obviously, the Purple Mattress really compares it to all these old school mattresses, with the springs and how big it is and how bulky it is. So they're right off the bat talking about something that's relevant to everybody, because everyone has a mattress. And they talk about why theirs is better. So that interest kind of keeps people going to go on to the next thing. The next thing they talk about is why the industry is broken, right? And every single other approach, every other business is broken the way that they approach this, other than the Purple Mattress. And they say it's not your fault, it's the industry. There's this problem that exists, and it's inconvenient and it's expensive, and the industry is in such a way, but it's not your fault. And they kind of position themselves as the solution to not only being better than other products, but being a differentiator in a broken system of this industry as well. This particular video, which I'm going to post for you as well, just so you can take a look in the description section, what they do is they do this in a variety of different ways, right? They add some truth to it, or a lot of truth to it, because they back up their claims with some sort of data. And I'll talk about that in a moment. And what they do is that they kind of use humor, right? So they have a genuine solution for a problem, in some senses could over exaggerate what the problem is, which is that kind of light humor that comes in and that presents themselves as a solution. Now, in this step or in this particular section of the video, what they also do is add a little bit of science to them, right? You don't really want to go full NASA on people in terms of data and science, but you want to be able to explain some sort of data, some sort of science behind it where it's relevant to somebody, right? And the last thing that they do is they add the social proof in there. And the social proof, they add this in a few different ways, right? And even for your e-commerce business, you can add social proof in different ways. You can do a visual demonstration of the product. You can do expert endorsements or even customer testimonials, which is most likely going to be the one that a lot of e-commerce use, and ensuring that these customer testimonials are real. They have an emotional connection to it, a human connection to it. They really talk about the problem, and it's a common problem for everyone, and then how this is the solution. So they jam-pack, this particular ad jam-packs everything into this 1 4-minute video, and that's really the golden rule to be able to get it done. But they don't just stop at social proof there. They actually come up with different objections, right? So in the mind of the audience, okay, yeah, this is great, but, and then what is the objection that the audience, that you would need to anticipate what the audience would have, and then address that right there in the video itself, right after the social proof. So an objection could be a price objection. This is too expensive. I don't know how this is going to help me. Or a value objection. Do I really need this product? So help your audience determine that your particular product is worth it. Address those objections right on the video in itself with this particular flow and answer them and have a good answer for them as well. And finally, you're going to come up to the call to action. So different type of call to action. Some of my favorites are risk-free, guaranteed, try for free, free shipping, limited time, whatever it is, have a very clear and strong call to action. So let's just recap what the different elements of this particular video from the Purple Mattress themselves is. One is that they talk about how the product is different or better from competitors. Second, how the industry has a problem, but it's not the audience's fault. However, they position themselves as the solution to this. They in particular use a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of funny videos and humors, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a ha-ha type of laugh out loud humor. It could be like a little chuckle, something that kind of keeps you engaged and see where this is going. So they're actually amazing at that as well. Next, what they do is, again, they show the solution, and finally, they talk about a little bit of the science, a little bit of proof, a little bit of data, where it's not just them saying something is wrong. Here's the actual data and science behind it as well. Moving on to social proofs. This was where your visual demonstrations are, your customer testimonials. And then you get to the objection, the top 2 or 3 objections that someone may have, you're really addressing them. And finally, after you address them, that's when you get the call to action. So this is the way their video is broken down. So now let's get on to YouTube's recommendations themselves when it comes to having creatives. Your video, what YouTube really suggests and really has you explore is it should explain your product or service. It should show off how it works and how it looks. It should offer a deal, discount, or a promotion. And then you should ask for your CTA. So this is coming from YouTube themselves. So the platform really offers 2 different ways that you can start advertising. One is uploading an existing asset, which again does not need to cost what Super Bowl production level costs. You can even get it done with a few $1,000s, and even with much less depending on the creative team that you have, or you can be starting from scratch on their platform. So what are the stats straight from YouTube in terms as to whether or not this is beneficial for an e-commerce? So the impact that a YouTube ad has on sales is 50% creatives, right? So 50% of your creatives has a huge aspect on the amount of sales, the growth in sales that you have. 35% of those are price promotions and distributions, and 13% are media. So this is the impact that YouTube ads have on sales. The percentage of sales contribution, 49% of those are creative, 36% are media, and 15% of the videos are brand related. Now, in terms of increase in your ROI, you can 2x your increase in ROI from effective creatives. So you're doubling your sales. It's a really easy stream to be able to do so once you get the creatives right, though. And the growth in attention is 3 times more attention than average ads. So this is some of the things that YouTube platform offers e-commerce businesses and advertisers. Now, when your YouTube ad is up, what type of options does your audience have? So your audience has 4 different type of options that we're going to go through. The first is that viewers can go ahead and skip your ad, right? True View for Action ads give viewers the choice to skip after 5 seconds, which rewards the ads that capture the attention right away. Right? So again, this goes back to what we said before. You're able to differentiate who the right audience is and who isn't. Next, viewers can take action right away. So you have a buy now button or subscribe now button. There is that option for people, and that's right below the skip ad button. So True View for Action ads have a customizable button that lets viewers click and take action. So you need to have a very clear call to action for your ad. Next is viewers have intent to buy. With signals from across Google search, maps, and more, what e-commerce businesses can do is reach audiences on YouTube who are already searching for what you are selling or likely to buy based on shopping patterns and life stages. And that's one of the most powerful assets that e-commerce businesses have are the Google Analytics. Google already knows and is incredibly powerful. They know all about us, right? What are we searching for? Where are we going? What is our life stage at? They have this incredible amount of data. And that's what makes YouTube so powerful for e-commerce businesses and their advertisers, right? So they know what someone is searching, they know their behavior, and they really know how to build an audience. And they know how to position your particular product in front of the right audience. One of the largest misconceptions is that YouTube ads are based on what people search for on YouTube, which is clearly not the case, right? Some people go onto YouTube and they're looking for videos on how to play guitar or how to cook something or how to build something in particular. But what they search for on Google is totally different. They're searching for stuff to buy, product reviews. That's totally different than the type of keywords that they're putting into YouTube. But that doesn't mean that Google is unable to cross-sell or cross-reference a user's behavior and the data they receive to pitch the right videos. So being able to benefit where the life stage of audience member is at, what they're searching for, what their intent is going to be very helpful for e-commerce businesses. And this is where SEO fits in, which is incredibly important in terms of the keyword search. And even you yourself can do a very important search and to be able to see what are people searching for. What is the keyword research for your particular audience? What are they looking at? And then you can target them on YouTube by being able to do this simple search. Now, if someone is looking up a problem, right? So let's say you're taking a look and you're realizing that people are looking up a problem, whether a problem could be a stiff neck, whether it could be they have a bad back or they want to learn how to do yoga. You can actually utilize this information and create intermediate audiences, right? Even based on a 2-week behavior, based on the searches that they've been making and looking for. And that's where it is that you can fit your product in there for it to be a solution for this particular audience member. And the power of similar audiences, which is Google versions of lookalike audiences, this intent signals are super important and they're super strong to have. What is the intent search, these intent signals? So Google Analytics is really going to be a very important asset when it comes to your YouTube ad creation. So again, you might want to start with remarketing. That is a great place for e-commerce to start with. And these people are more likely to convert in time with your creatives, right? And it also gives you an opportunity to test out your creatives. So while you're searching, any of the audiences that you build in Google Analytics, you got to send this over to the Google Ads platform, which is where you run your YouTube campaigns. And then you can target people, right? Let's say someone bought X, right? But not Y. And such as, let's say somebody bought a keyboard, but they didn't buy a keyboard stand, and you sell keyboard stands, right? So someone who buys X but not Y, you can position yourself right there. So that's kind of like a complementary type of product where you can position yourself. It's really effective and it's really affordable to be able to have this similar audience, to have that search intent, and to be able to sniper target people specifically, really, on the Google Ads platform. So what does this mean in terms of your ROI, your ad spend, your CPA? Like, what does this all mean? And how does this differ from the traditional platforms in terms of advertisement? So particularly for retargeting ads, it's very possible that you can see about a 300% ROAS, right? For cold audience, you may see a So with all this effort, let's talk about some numbers, right? What can e-commerce expect to see or expect to spend in terms of YouTube ads? For your remarketing efforts, a good benchmark to have is very possible for you to see 300% ROAS, right? So for a cold audience, your CPA, your cost per acquisition, some e-commerce businesses can hit $20 for their CPA to be profitable, and some clients have about $80 CPA. And if you're in this higher range, if your CPA is $80 or above, that really opens a lot more doors in terms of audiences, and to be able to be more aggressive with your advertisement. And if your CPA is about $50 or $50 plus, you can really reach a large portion of the audience. Even $20 range CPA, you still have a lot of people it is that you can extend to, a lot of untapped markets that you have. And of course, with anything that you do in terms of advertisement, you got to really ask yourself where YouTube ads fits into your particular strategy. Is it really feeding your funnel? Is it leading to the leads, or is it not? Is it performing? How much time have you given it? Do you have your A/B testing in place? What type of formula it is that you have for your creatives? All this is very important for any marketer, for any e-commerce business to ask. And so how do you really understand if the YouTube ads are feeding into the strategy that you have, right? Well, there are 4 different ways that YouTube ads can be effective, right? They can attract a lot of people. It really utilizes your brand. It helps your audience connect, and it allows you to kind of deliver a clear message, to be direct with what it is that your audience should do. So these are the things that you should be aiming for with any creative that you have on the YouTube platform. Even YouTube provides this little graph, and I'm going to post this on our blogs as well, about what an effective direct response ad looks like. And there's this little bit of an arc that you'll see. So in the first section, we have attract, right? And this is going to start high, which is the problem statement. Then you get on to the climax, which is the big reveal. And that reveals what the brand, your e-commerce brand is. And you're going to introduce your brand as the solution. Next, and you're going to see a pretty big dip in this particular graph, it's the ability to connect, right? And you want to maintain that connection, explain the benefits and have the features. And then you see a slight direction going up in terms of views and interest. And that's where you offer the solution, the resolution, right? And then you have that, and that's what a direct connection is. And this is where you offer a deal, promotion, call to action. And this is kind of what the arc is like for those who advertise for YouTube videos. And again, I'm going to post this image on the blog that we have in this coming week. So there are a few different examples, great examples as to who really does a great job with their creatives and their conversions when it comes to YouTube and YouTube ads. The great example of this is Grammarly. Grammarly really hits home with everybody, the way that they position themselves, the problem, whether it's a job interview someone's applying for, a student that someone is writing. We all make spelling mistakes, and this is something that really appeals to people. And then they offer their solution, and then they offer their CTA at the end. So this is an amazing way, the way that they have displayed and created their narrative for their YouTube video. Next is Monday.com. Monday.com hits a lot of points home with how frustrating it can be in terms of organization, in terms of the problems that businesses have in terms of structuring, organizing their team, and they do a great job. So I'm going to post the Grammarly video, Monday.com, as well as Honey and Wix, which are another few different examples. I'm going to post these videos to really help shape how it is that you can construct your video when it comes to your creatives to make it make sense for your e-commerce business to be able to post these creatives and gain from them. So I'm going to leave you guys with the last few tips, and specifically, again, because there's such a big barrier when it comes to creatives, this is really for the creatives. And keep these 4 simple steps in mind. The first is having a clear call to action. There has to be a purpose, a direction, where this fits in your strategy, and it's got to be clear to the audience what it is that you want them to do and be direct. The second tip to keep in mind is to win the first 5 seconds, right? Viewers can skip. Get their attention up front, whether it's entertaining, whether it's introducing a problem, humor. Don't make them wait for the good stuff, right? And one of the things that I personally like are something called buffer videos, and they're about 5 to 6 seconds, right about that mark. And the way buffer videos are explained is, imagine telling a joke. The first or second line is setting up the joke, and then you have the punchline, right? So in the first 5 seconds, just get to the punchline. Just have the punchline go out first. So remember that. Once I kind of when I was creating videos, it was hard for me to differentiate how it is. Okay, well, I got to set it up. I got to make it right. It won't make sense. But when I had that in mind, just get to the punchline. There was such a huge change. Every single video and creatives that I had put out afterwards made the largest difference. So it really is true about the first 5 seconds, and really get to the punchline in the first 5 seconds, and keep that in mind. Next thing to keep in mind for your creatives is to keep your YouTube ad short and sweet and fast. Really, you don't have to slowly build up or have this immense build up to what it is that you're trying to sell, or who you're trying to sell to. It kind of falls in line with get to the point and respect their viewers' time. Because remember, they're there for another video, right? You're on their way to what their ultimate goal is. So keep it short, sweet, fast, get to the point, tell them what you want to say. Try cutting 30 seconds into 15 seconds into 12 seconds, and then kind of take a look and see if there's any other opportunities to bring down the place. Or bring down the timeline that you have for your video. And the final thing is make it for mobile, right? Everyone is on mobile, especially a lot of the shopping aspects is on mobile as well. And people spend less time on a checkout page, and this extends beyond your video, but also to your checkout page. People spend less time on the checkout page on a mobile than they do on a desktop. So really keep that in mind when you're transitioning people, when you're building the video from mobile, that is different. So if you have any texts in the video, make that text center and big, easy to read, and people to be able to pay attention to. Don't make it difficult for them to read what you're writing, right? So that's one aspect of the creatives of making it for mobile, but also when you extend beyond that mobile and have people go on to the next level, which is what we're all aiming to do, make that experience just as seamless as well, and just as great as well. Paying attention to your load time, paying attention to the font size, how easy is it for someone to check out, how many steps is there to it, is the shipping cost right there. So it's one thing to get them from the platform to be able to get out to your checkout. And then we have a whole different series, which we've talked about before, is what your checkout strategy and what your essentially checkout strategy should be to be able to close people faster. So if you guys have any questions about YouTube and YouTube ads and creatives, send us a message. Era of Ecom has a variety of different things that we offer. One is the education. The other is the tech for Shopify websites. We've just launched a few things, so be sure to check that out. But one of the most important things is our eraofecom.org community. We have tons of different marketers who are on there asking similar questions, but important questions for all e-commerce businesses. And our staff is on there too. I've helped a lot of people in terms of their creatives, and I've made a lot of creatives. So I've gone through that pain, but once you kind of get over that hump and you start seeing that success for your e-commerce business, you are going to be addicted to creating videos for conversions and really realize that the barrier is not as high as e-commerce businesses think. So with only 10% of e-commerce businesses using YouTube, you have a great way to have a leg up on your competitors who are probably not even on it right now, and find a whole different avenue of audience members. And really take advantage of those analytics, of those keywords. Data is everything, and take advantage of it, which is something that I will always preach, regardless of what platform you're using, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Google Ads or Facebook. So yeah, if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments. We're going to have some blogs on this. We're going to have a whole little campaign around YouTube ads because it's so important and there's so much opportunity that e-commerce can take advantage of. And we're really excited to be able to share whatever secrets and insights and any type of things that we've gone through with it as well. So thank you again for joining me. My name is Shala Jalali, and I'm looking forward to sharing more e-commerce tips with you.